Hi, everyone. Well, happy Veterans Day. Today I want to talk to you about perspective. I am sure I'm not the only one who has sat there and said, I wonder how they do that. Why would they do that? I don't get that. I know I have, and it never became more apparent than when we would go on the base around 4:30, and they would do retreat. And that's when they play the national anthem. They lower the flag for the day, and it didn't really matter where you're at. But when 4:30 came around, everybody would stop what they were doing. If you were driving in your car, you stopped right in the middle of the road. If you were walking out of the store, you would stop right then and there. And if you were pumping gas, or if the kids were playing in the park, everybody would stop. They would turn towards the music and in the direction of the flag, and those in uniform would stand at attention and salute, and everybody else would either put their hand over their heart or stand at attention. And it really didn't, like the kids at the park, no adult had to tell them. No one had to monitor this. It was just something that people did. And whenever we would bring friends on base, they were always so like blown away that people did this. And I remember one time my daughter's occupational therapist was coming on to the base, and I asked her when she got to the house, did you get stuck at retreat? And she says, oh no, I just kept going. And I just couldn't understand how somebody could just keep going when everybody else is around them is doing something, like everybody's stopping, but she just kept on going. And I understood that because she didn't get why we were doing it. She didn't have the same perspective as the rest of us on that base did, where we had a bigger picture. We understood why we live the life we live and what we are doing. And so it was not a big deal for us to stand there and honor the flag and honor our national anthem, because we understood that it really wasn't about a song or about a flag, but it was a much bigger picture. And the disciples had to come to that realization as well. You know, when Jesus came, they thought Jesus had come to rescue Israel and rescue them from the Roman government and be able to relieve them of their suffering and their trials, and their the way they talked to Jesus and the things that they would pray, it was always about them. They were focused on themselves. Um, who will be next, and who does he think is the greatest, and things like that. Their perspective was very small, and it was focused just on themselves. And it wasn't until they realized that Jesus hadn't come just to save Israel, but Jesus had come to save the whole world. And then all of a sudden their eyes could see more clear, and their perspective had broadened, and they realized that it wasn't about them. It was about a much greater purpose. And then they could live a life that was one that was selfless, and they could give them themselves because they saw stuff and they saw that things had a greater purpose. And I remember when we were going through a season where my husband was fighting cancer, and we had a real tough, difficult season with one of our children. They were in full out blown rebellion, and I remember my prayers were just like, make it stop. And it was very focused on stop the suffering. And it was very much about me. I just want this to end. I want my family not to have to suffer anymore. And although that's not a bad thing, but when I realized, when God opened my eyes to see the bigger picture, when we had people coming up to us who I didn't know, and they were saying, watching you guys walk through this just increases my faith, God started letting me see that there was a bigger picture to this suffering. There was a bigger thing that we were going through, and there was purpose for that. And you know, it didn't make the situation easier, but I definitely could understand a lot better why we were going through it, and I was able to sacrifice stuff much easier. So, you know, I just want to challenge you. If you're going through something right now, and you've been praying and nothing is changing, and you're just really weak, and it's just nothing is really going the way you want it to go, I would just encourage you to ask God to show you the bigger picture. Ask him to change your perspective on everything, because once he does that, your outlook on God and your outlook on the situation is a lot better, and you're able to endure things so much easier. So I just really want to encourage you to ask God, ask him to see the things differently than the way you see them. I also want to invite you that we are in our last week of Alone in Marriage, and we're getting ready to start this book, A Confident Heart by Renee Swoop. And I want to encourage you to invite a friend. And if you've really liked doing this online study, Alone in Marriage, then you're going to love the online study, A Confident Heart. We start December 2nd, and if you register at remade-ministries.org before November 15th, then your name goes into a drawing. We're going to be pulling 4 names for 4 different books, and they will be mailed directly to you, and you could win one for free. So I hope you will join us online and bring a friend. Till next time, bye-bye.